Okay, hello and welcome to this video. Hello. Let's try and center things here. Okay, welcome to this video, which is a recap of my Icelandic Blitz Championship 2013, which was played yesterday. 11 round tournament with some quite strong players. Let's have a look at the starting list, which should be on your screen right now. So I was the 8th seed here. I'm Fyrirmaster Ingvar Johannesson from Iceland. Blessar. Okay, the number 1 seed was Grandmaster Helgi Ólafsson, 2541. And this guy is actually a Grandmaster now. He has been appointed by FIDE as a Grandmaster. The 3rd Grandmaster here, Jón Loftur Árnason, the 1977 World Junior Champion. Then we have a bunch of IMs, the Thorfinnsson brothers, another GM, and a very strong FM who has been over 2400. So quite a strong tournament, and that was the 8th seed. I think the top 6 in this tournament got paid. The first prize was 100,000 Icelandic kroners, which is okay, not exactly, but close to $1,000. $900 to $1,000. So quite a good first prize. Second prize was 60,000, which is like, okay, let's estimate $600, and third prize was $400. No, 500. Okay. Anyway, you know, some good money on the line, but I played this tournament. This is the 10th year, I think, in its current format. It's played in a central bank in Iceland, downtown, on a Saturday. You know, quite a good. It's quite a good atmosphere. You know, always some people around watching the tournament, and they have to limit the participant to like 80 and 100. So there's a lot of competition to you know, to register for the tournament. So IMs and GMs, you know, they automatically get into the tournament, but I have to fight for like 1,200 people, 1,200 rated guys to enter for the tournament. So I managed to get in this year, fortunately. And let's see what happened to me. In the first round, I played against a guy called Birkir Már. Did I mess up? He's Sigurðsson, isn't he? Isn't he? Birkir Karl Sigurðsson, wow. I thought it was funny. He's not Birkir Már, he's Birkir Karl. So, okay. I apologize. And his rating is, let's see. His rating is 1714. You can see him here. 1714. But he's a young guy, so he's. I like to think he's quite underrated. And he opened with D4, and oops, hello, aren't we? Want to see it on the screen? Okay, yeah. He opened with D4, and I wanted to play my regular. I usually play this in Blitz games, the Jack Benoni. But the thing is, I played him, I think, this tournament last year, also in Jack Benoni, and there I outplayed him. I have a question. Isn't it a bit unfair for him to play FM in the first round? Well, this, as well as almost all the tournaments that are played in the world, follow the so-called Swiss system of pairing. And if you have 100 people competing, the first seed will generally play against number 51. The second seed will play against number 52, etc. all the way down to number 50 playing against 100. So if he's in the middle of the pack, he will play somebody really good. And last year he allowed me to play the Czech Barony. Maybe he had unpleasant memories from that, so he took on e6 this time. It's quite a rare move, because you can also, I mean, the modern Barony is also like this, and people never take on e6. So it's quite a rare move, and probably for a good reason. Well, e5, e5, yeah. And probably for a good reason, because well, somebody said it sucks to be the 51st seed then. Well, maybe, but I mean, if you're playing in an open tournament with 100 guys and Carlsen is the first seed, would you like to play the bottom seed or Carlsen? You know, depends on how you approach the tournament. Okay, yeah. The other thing is, if you take on e6, black gets a really easy center and easy play. My pieces just come out to easy squares, and that's what they did here. He took on d5, and we might argue that, okay, maybe he has some weaknesses on this diagonal, but it's hard to take advantage of it. And also it could be good for me to have this f file opened. And what I did real quick here was, I mean, this is a blitz game, so I just move the king out of harm's way. What you want to do in blitz, I think it's good blitz practice. Yeah, just to play the sensible moves. Here, king h8, I don't have to worry about anything on the diagonal, you know, any nasty tactics. Just get it out of the way and then play chess. What happened then was, he played bishop e2, I played d4. He went knight c4, knight d5. The time control for this tournament, by the way, was 5 minutes for the game plus 2 seconds each move. And I quite like it, because in the past, for some inexplicable reason, they used to play this tournament as 7-0, you know, 7 minutes for the game, no extra time. And it's just such, I mean, you play all the blitz tournaments throughout the year. It's 5-0, you know, 3-2, 4-2, and then the Icelandic Championship you play 7 minutes. I mean, it's, for me, it's closer to a short rapid game than a blitz game. It kind of, it was a time control that was kind of forced through by the older generation of GMs, so that they would play the tournament. But 5-2 is absolutely fine. I mean, if you play a good game, you have the extra 2 seconds. You're not going to get flagged if you're completely winning. So I mean, if you have like a pawn and you have a winning ending, etc., you're not going to get flagged. So I think it's a good time control. 5-2, it's a million times better than 7-0. But 5-2, you can also push, you know, on the clock. You can get, you know, a better time situation, and you can push on the clock. And if your opponent has a difficult position, he could get flagged. And I won some games with flags in this tournament. So okay, around about here, he started to go wrong. I think he played h3 and g4, and this just seems really weakening. I mean, there's no turning back here on the king side. He has a weak square here, and you know, maybe I can attack this formation that he has going there. By the way, I spent the day kind of constructing the games that I could. You know, some of the games will have slightly, you know, the move order will be slightly off, but in general, it's more or less okay. So he started to reroute. He started to reroute his bishop here to c1. He wanted to reroute the bishop. I went bishop f6. Something like this. I'm not 100% sure, but this happened. I played rook e8, and now he blundered with g5. Probably feeling I would have to move this bishop, but instead I simply played knight c3, attacking his queen. Papa! Queen moves, and that's actually quite a bad square because I take on e2, and now no, I did not take notation. All of the games except one are by memory. I couldn't reconstruct them all, just most of them. One game I played on the top word, so it was recorded by electronic word. So yeah, Queen c2 is a horrible square because of d3, discovered attack on the rook here. Basically I won the exchange here, and because I have a weak diagonal here, I immediately eliminated the bishop on c1, you know, just practical chess, it splits. So I eliminated this this bishop, played something like bishop d5, and I'm just up the exchange and the pawn, and a passed pawn at that, and yeah, I'm not completely safe because I couldn't reconstruct the game from here, but okay, that's good enough. I'm completely winning here, and I won this game. So let's see what happened. Let's go to first round. Round 1. So yeah, I beat this guy. He's rated 1746. And most of the top seeds won. This is what you will see in most Swiss tournaments. You will see this 1 1 1 1 1 1. It will go like zigzag. The top seeds will win almost no matter what. And the first shock result was on board 19, where Gautipad Leonsson 1589, who incidentally is my student. I teach him once a week, private lessons, and he beat a 21-22 guy. So I'm proud of that. I mean, he's improving rapidly, so yeah, quite happy with his progress so far. Okay, so this was round 1. In round 2, I got paired against a guy named Vifuson. We get Vifusion, and I can't really collect the game. This is theater rating, more or less. Not more or less, this is theater rating. This game was a London system. And if you've seen the London, I just played bishop f4, knight f3, you know, h3, blah blah blah, knight e5. Pure London moves, eventually took an e5. And in this position, I'm slightly better, it's not much, I have some pressure. And I went knight f3. People are asking about the rating. It's FIDE rating, but actually USCF rating and FIDE rating are quite similar, but USCF ratings are slightly more inflated. So in general, people who have USCF and FIDE ratings will have higher USCF ratings. Either way, I played knight f3 here, and this was kind of the critical point of the game. Maybe he should have tried to defend like this, just keep the position, but he played f4. And I took it. You can't really take with the pawn because I will just retreat my queen. And this pawn will be toast. So we'll make it red because of the bad pawn. I just move my knight and I got all my pieces attacking the pawn. So I took with the rook. But now I retreat my knight. It kind of has to take here. Now I got the file. So this was kind of the critical point, and he's in some trouble here because I'm attacking this pawn here. I moved it to h5, but I took it. And his main problem is that he can't take the pawn because of mate. So he went knight f5, trying to trap my queen. The problem is it's not really trapped. If rook f7, I just take on t5. either way, I took here on f5. Can't remember why. I played knight f3, attacking this pawn. You know, I had some, moves like knight g5 and h6 in mind when I did this. And I took on h5, which I was quite happy with, because after queen d8, maybe he felt like he had something going on h3. But I just take the piece, queen takes h3 and knight h2. And he has a big problem here on f5. And can't really move the pawn. And the thing is that even if he goes like, okay, I take with check. But his main problem is that whenever he goes g3, then his queen is attacked. So there's nothing going on here really, so I'm just up a piece. And everything is defended. And in fact, after knight h2, his flag just fell. He might have played one move when I took an f5 or something, but he got flag here. So okay, so far so good. I'm on 2 out of 2. Let's go to round 2. And where am I? I'm here. His rating was 1979. So I'm on 2 out of 2, and seems like the top seeds are all doing quite well. Still, I'd like to mention that this guy, he's my uncle. I think it's uncle. In Icelandic we actually have the same word for like uncle. Yeah, flag is losing on time. Somebody asked what's flag? That's losing on time, yeah. So what uncle, cousin, etc. We have one word for that in Icelandic, so I'm not sure. But basically his mother and my mother, they are sisters. So it's really close to me, uncle, whatever, just my best friend. So we're really close, and he was doing quite well here as well. So he's on 2 out of 2 also. So let's move on to round 3. That game I couldn't quite recollect. I remember the opening moves more or less. Why isn't this going down? Hey, why are you? Okay, this one. No, I don't want to save. Okay, let's just do the opening moves first. He went knight 3. Then we'll go to the position that I remember. The position that I remember. He went c4. I went c6, and actually took and played e3. And I just went for the reversed London system. He played b4. It quite surprised me, but no, actually might be quite sensible. Something like this happened. He castled. Oh, he didn't do that. He castled. I castled. I think it was queen b3, knight d7, I think. And something like this happened, where I had a solid position, but nothing special going on. And eventually we got a position like this. Oh, not that one. No. Yeah, this one. We got a position like this, where we exchanged a lot of pieces. I played this guy a bunch of times before. I don't think I lost. Maybe one blitz game, I'm not sure. But okay, I beat him, but he's hard to beat, and I've had to concede some draws. Basically, he plays really passive and doesn't really attempt to do much. So, guys that are strong players and do that can be, at times can be hard to beat. So we got this position. And here I have the move queen c1, and I have some slight initiative going on. I attack two of his knights. Boom, boom. So his only way to defend them is, well, either queen d1, but then maybe I attack some pawns. So he played knight here. I improved my knight. He exchanged bishops. My mother and his mother or sisters. Sisters. Okay. Yeah, actually my knight might have been on c8, and I went knight b6 and he went queen b3 or something, threatening queen b4. Either way, I went queen c4 and he took, and we got this ending. And okay, it's symmetrical. It looks maybe drawish to the untrained eye, but here in the middle game, this might be an advantage to you to have a space advantage. But in the end game, with the king far away and your piece is not close to here, this to me is a weakness. These look like pawns that I can attack. So he went knight d3. I decided to play f6 first, just stopping knight e5, maybe getting ready to expand. Somebody asked why not take on c4 with a pawn. Well, I thought like the pawn would be easily blockaded, and maybe he can push e4 at some point. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe my knight was on b6, so that he could have played a5, knight d5, knight d2, attacking the pawn or something. And I was afraid that I would lose this pawn. So maybe this position wasn't entirely correct, but this ending we got for sure, where I played f6. We both brought our kings to the center because this is an endgame. King c2 and now e5. I'm just slightly better here, it's not much. And in the opening he had the time advantage, but I was starting to catch up here. And I mean, this is a game that was really important to me to win, because I mean it's 11 rounds, and if I mess up in the early rounds, it could be tough, because you're going to lose some games in a packed tournament against strong people. So knight d2 and now knight b6, attacking this pawn. He pushed a5, and now a move that I was happy with and the computer agrees, knight a8. Just didn't see any good way to get squares for the knight with knight c8, e7, etc. So on knight a8, the plan is simply knight c7, attacking the pawn. Knight b3, I attack the pawn. He went b6, and okay, I have to take it, obviously. And here I noticed that, you know, I can't take immediately because knight a5, and he wins back this pawn. I should have played knight e6 and then just picked up the pawn. Instead I played knight a8, and I was slightly fortunate that he missed knight a5 here. But if I played knight e6, then this would have been a really good endgame, I think, where I just, you know, win a pawn and have a passed pawn with b file. Instead I played f4, and I was fortunate to win a pawn here. I played knight d4, g6, knight f4. I think around this point he got flagged. But okay, he's in trouble. I'm up a pawn here, and I should be winning. Had a time match at this point also, so I mean, okay, he got flagged, so it saved me the problem of having to display some technique in this endgame. So round 3, what's going on? Top seeds keep winning, but for the first time, the top seed got a tough game here. But they keep winning here. First kind of upset result was this, a 21-46 beating an IM. And this guy, I think he used to be, well, no, maybe his brothers. He used to teach his brother in high school, taught him Icelandic. This is an old guy, a great guy. So okay, I won here. This guy is 21-10. And okay, good result for me. And my cousin also won. Where is he at? Ah, he beat my good friend and international master. So quite a good result for him. So we're both on 3 out of 3 here. Okay, on to the 4th round. And in this round I was on the top board, playing against the top seed. And so let's spin the board around. I'm playing Grandmaster Olafsson. His rating is 2546. A really strong Grandmaster, and I mean, he has one of the best memories I've seen. I remember some years ago I was playing the B3 Sicilian, and immediately he's like, oh yeah, the B3, yeah, Boris Spassky used to play the B3 Sicilian. I was like, okay, so we looked up games with B3 and Spassky, and like, you get this window with a certain amount of games, and they're in chronological order, so you know the oldest games on top, etc. And we're scrolling down. We can't see the last game, the next game below, and he's like, "Okay, yes, I think the next game will be Spassky against this guy in this tournament." Blah blah blah. And of course, he was completely correct, and he's done this a number of times. He just has an amazing memory. I mean, I wish I had this kind of memory. But okay, so let's not make this like a 2-hour video on one tournament. But on to the game. I have the white pieces, Grandmaster Helgi Ólafsson on the black pieces. I played D4 and the London system. I played the London system in all the games in this tournament, and I've been playing it more or less exclusively in Blitz games. I haven't played it in tournament games, but I think it's a good Blitz opening. One that I would quite recommend. And I mean, the top rated guy on ICC, Vidok or Scratch, if he plays the London system more or less exclusively in the 5-minute pool on ICC. And he also played it in the London Classic last week. So okay, I played Bishop F4. Some people say that's a slightly more accurate move order against D5. We don't have time really to elaborate on why that's the case right now. So let's just make some moves here. E6. Black is playing really sensible moves here. Bishop D6, and I went Knight E5. We can't really say that white has any edge here. Black has more or less equalized, but white has a really solid position. He castled here, and I went Bishop D3, a move that I immediately regretted playing. I think I have to go Bishop G3 here, and the idea is more or less to play F4 and follow it up with Bishop D3, castles, etc. with a solid position. And you know, against unprepared guys, you can get an attack going. Bishop H4, Queen F3, H3, maybe a rook lift, etc. But I played Bishop D3, which I don't like because of Queen C7. And it's not so easy to get rid of this. He's trying to take on E5 now. Yeah, I agree. Bishop D3 looks natural, but now he's trying to take on E5. And here, I think it just takes on F4. And it's slightly tricky. I mean, okay, maybe I get away with this. What does it take with maybe like this? Maybe I can get away with playing like this, but my pawn structure is somewhat compromised. Maybe this is playable. I have to check it, but I felt like I couldn't do this, so I went Knight D to F3. Hello, Exervarian. Welcome to the stream. I played Knight D to F3. He went Knight E4. And now I thought he was threatening F6. I mean, if I do nothing, He plays f6. Knight doesn't really have any good squares, and now he takes here. And somehow I didn't want to compromise my pawn structure here, and I went bishop d3. My idea, of course, is if he takes, then h7 is hanging, and if he takes on e5, I'm quite happy to at least draw here. I have at least a draw if I want, maybe more. I haven't checked, but you know, at least a draw. So you know, you don't have to check more against the grandmaster. You draw. You can check for more later. Either way, he took on d4. I went knight to e7. And up to this point, I had the better time situation, but here I started to get a bit worried about something like f5 and maybe f4, etc. And I spent some time here and just couldn't find a sensible move. In the end, I settled on knight d2, trying to resolve some tension. And I think I was planning to meet f5 just with f4. It felt okay to me. I took on d2, but I felt slightly worse here. I mean, nothing critical, but my main worry at this point was the clock situation. He went e5. Of course, he's threatening to win a piece here, so I move back. But the good thing is that I get a new diagonal for my bishop. I threaten this pawn. And okay, it's certainly an option to take here, but I was behind on the clock, so I prefer to keep it simple. The thing is that if e4, I felt like his pawns would be well blocked. Put a knight on d4, and I have no problems. With my clock situation as it was, taking on d5 just felt risky. You know, rook d8, e4 at some point. I haven't castled, so I just felt like just castle quickly and try and catch up on the clock. So I'm trying to keep it simple. You want the rook here, I want the rook e1. And now I'm threatening this e5 pawn. And around this point, I was starting to feel really comfortable. I felt like, okay, I got rid of my problems that I felt I had earlier. The knight is coming to d4. I have a good blockade. Yeah, good blockade and a nice black square control, you know, in front of the pawns. So I felt like I have easy move here, rook d1, which I played, and reroute the knight to e3, which is what I did. And since all his pawns here are on light squares, I felt like my bishop would be slightly better because I can attack some pawns while his would be restricted by his pawns. So it's starting to feel really good here, and I think I'm even I can claim a small edge here. Play rook f6, knight to g4, and around this time we started to get really low on the clock. I'm starting to really catch up, and in fact he hesitated a bit here. First he put his rook on f5 without releasing it, of course, like this, rook f5. But then he realized that if he plays rook f5, I'll take on e4, and we have this pin here on the d file, and my queen will take his rook. So he can't take, I mean, it's just mate even, so just win a free pawn. So when he realized that, he still touching the rook, of course, everything legal. He moved the rook back to f8, but fortunately for me, he was not in time to make this move, and his flag fell. So in a slightly better position here, I won on time. I mean, slightly fortunate, but okay. I mean, I'll take the win, definitely. So I am on 4 out of 4. A great result for me. 4 rounds out of 11. So 1 on the top board. Okay, the other top seeds also won, so this guy's on 4 out of 4 GM. This guy's on 4 out of 4 GM. And also my uncle on 4 out of 4, so quite pleasant. I was happy to see my uncle at the top there also. So round 5, I'm playing against a Grandmaster. Another Grandmaster. This time I have the black pieces. And this is, yeah, around the critical position. We had been playing a French Tarrasch. Okay, I can remember the opening moves, but they're not so important. Can't really remember the middle game because we kind of moved back and forth. I tried to make something happen on the queen side. Meanwhile, he didn't really go for the play I thought he would on the king side. So I kind of was doing well on the queen side. And in this position, I played knight to c2, attacking his knight. He played rook d1, bishop a4. And here I'm just winning the exchange. I'm threatening his rook here. And if the rook moves, then this guy is hanging because of my rook here on c8. So he had to retreat the bishop, and I won the exchange. I also got to eliminate the bishop, this bishop. But unfortunately, I can't reconstruct this game. What happened was I entered his position with my queen. Let's, I mean, something like this. I can't really remember. What he did was put this queen on f4 or something. h5, h6. Did I play h6? Oh, yeah. And eventually, I tried to make something happen on the queen side. Something like this, yeah. Played g4, rook a1, something like this, yeah, and g5. And eventually, let's say I went here, he played h6. Okay, his bishop was actually on f1, so it's not entirely correct. But either way, something like this happened. Okay, let's put the bishop on f1. It's not entirely correct, but something like this happened. And I must have blundered like this or something, because that's his move. Okay, let's say eventually my bishop, his bishop got here, and yeah, I can't really remember it, but basically I was winning, but he managed to confuse me enough that at a critical moment my flag fell. I mean, he made a comeback, but my position was probably still better. I went from winning to better, but unfortunately my flag fell and I lost this game. So that's what happens in Blitz. But I was happy with the game. I felt like, you know, the critical part of the game, I managed to outplay him of the exchange, but unfortunately it wasn't entirely correct. I didn't have queen takes f2. My rook was on the second rank. I managed to play rook takes f2, but that's basically what happened. Rook g1, and I had to think a bit, and I didn't manage to solve the immediate problems, unfortunately. But this is a talented guy. I mean, he was the 1977 World Junior Champion. In that same tournament, you had some future champions by the name of Nigel Short, Garry Kasparov, you know, so yeah. Didn't I change the title of the broadcast, by the way, to my Icelandic Blitz Championship 2013? I think I did. Okay, either way, I lost, but now my uncle, he beat the Grandmaster. He beat the Grandmaster. He's surprising. He's probably surprising himself and surprising me. He's on 5 out of 5, leading with the Grandmaster that just beat me. For those who just joined, it says I am here, but he just got appointed to GM. So this is Iceland's latest Grandmaster. Double GM is woman Grandmaster. So my uncle and this guy on 5 out of 5, and I am in 4th place. with a number of people. But it's 11 rounds. So round 6, white pieces again. And this game I can more or less fully recollect. I had the white pieces and I played my beloved London system, of course. So automatic moves here. Bishop e2, c5. I decided to go for knight b to d2 here because yeah, on queen b6 I'll go knight c4. Because I always take with the e pawn anyway on d4, so c3 might not be necessary immediately. b6, I just went ahead with London moves, c3. So basically, if you don't know the London system, after castles, let's go here. These are more or less your automatic knight moves. This, the knights here, bishops here, and castles. Automatic stuff, and that's what you like in a blitz game. So you can play the moves fast, you know the positions, and indeed here I had the time match. Just played my moves quickly here. Played rook e8, and in this game I went for bishop to c4. c4 is usually, it's not a good move here, because then this diagonal is quite weak. It's more of a move when the pawn is not on c5, when they go e5, e4, then you want to go c4. But here it's more important to keep solid pawn structure here. So okay, bishop c4. You know, eyeing this pawn a little bit. e5, took on e5, and now more or less have to go e4. You want a6 and then h6, preventing knight g5. And we played some automatic moves here. I went to rook 8 to d1, queen e7. And I had the time match here, and I was quite happy with my position. And I played knight c4. We can't really allow knight d6 here, so we took the knight. And here I played a move that I immediately regret playing. I played queen takes c4. Horrible, horrible. If bishop takes c4, I'm just really comfortably slightly better. I can play around on the d file, play rook d3, rook d1 with the other rook. At some point I can play my bishop to d5, try and exchange this bishop. His light squares will be weak. D file, you might worry about this pawn. At some point I have the option of rerouting the knight, you know, come to d2, f1 to e3, you know, eyeing the square. And also at this point, you know, you can't really move this knight so easily because I have pressure on the e5 pawn. So I mean, I think if I play bishop takes c4, I'm quite confident that with a time match and a good position, I would have won the game. Unfortunately, I played queen takes c4, and now he played some good moves, good solid moves. Bishop c6. My problem here is b5 is it's just coming here, and it's not so easy to meet. I want bishop b3 because I mean, if I do nothing, b5 is quite difficult to meet. If the queen moves back, maybe it takes. It's hard for me to take because of the bishop here, which I'm losing now. So I want bishop b3, I want b5, queen back. And now he pushes me back with c4. And now he's got some easy moves and the space advantage. He started to catch up on the clock also because he has some easy moves and I have to think a bit here. So this is more or less how the game went. Pressure on my e4 pawn. And black's just very comfortably better here. He exchanged the rooks. And I tried to get some counterplay here, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. He can do this. It was well calculated by him. Checked on e8, took on e5. And I'm in deep trouble here. Fortunately, he took an e5. I mean, fortunately, but I say fortunately because f6 just wins a piece here because of the pin. But either way, I'm just losing here. b4 just gives the pawn away because it's not the the quantity, but the quality of the passed pawns. And yeah, his C pawn looks really strong. And around here I started to panic. I played e6. I'm just trying to make him think while I try and think of something. Trying to block the pawn, but he just takes another pawn. And I even thought that g6 was hanging here, but it's not hanging. So queen c5 check and c2. And I resigned. Maybe I played 2 moves, but he just gets a new queen and I lose. And yeah. So second consecutive loss, and yeah, it's not very good. So this tournament is 11 rounds. And my uncle lost on the first board. I mean, he's had great results so far, but now this guy is on 6 out of 6. But some other guys lost, so it's a tight field. But after I lose here, it's getting tough because yeah, I played this tournament a number of times and I seem to always get 7 out of 11, 7 points out of 11. And that's usually out of the money. So at this point, it's difficult. I have to string a lot of victories together here. So this guy was, I mean, he's a strong player. He's a FIDE master also, 23-28. So I lost to a GM and an FM. Nothing to be ashamed of. But I'm falling a bit back here. So it's clear here at this point that, let's turn this off. That I have to string some wins together and get lucky in the last few rounds if I manage to do that. So on to round 7. A must-win situation for me. And I play a young talented guy. He's around 2100, I think. And he plays c4. He plays c4, and I mean, these c4 guys can be tough to beat. So I went for the symmetrical English, and the move order doesn't really matter much here. We got this position. And for some reason, I've taken a little bit of a liking to this line, where I just put my knight on h6, put on f5, blocking d4 and castle, and you know, I just play chess from there. It's nothing, you know, hugely great or you know, you can write home about, but it's just a solid line that I picked up somewhere along the line. And here, yeah, this surprised me. This surprised me. He gave up the bishop here, then he played d4. I was quite happy with that because I felt like I think it's a slight mistake to take there, because I just get the bishop pair now at the solid position. He plays e4. Now simply retreat. Pressure on the d4 pawn, and he has to resolve the tension. He plays d4, sorry, d5. And I just feel like I have a really strong bishop on this diagonal. And I can play like knight a5 and try and go for a b5 or something. Or maybe even knight d4. Yeah, knight d4 was probably better. And this feels really good for me. Instead I took on c5. Either way, I have really strong black square control. I just kicked the knight away immediately. He went back to e3. And I just played some solid moves. Queen d2. And now I decided, okay, eventually I want to put my rooks on the queen side files and try and get some pressure down the b file. So I was quite happy to get a4 here, because I'm pinning down this pawn. And once I get my d6 weekend, d6 square sorted out with queen c7, I can start to think about moves like bishop a6 and rook b8, etc., something like that. Maybe even move the knight, play bishop c6. You know, easy play. And also my bishop helps with the pressure on b2. So I played b4, felt slightly what's the word? Yeah, I mean, not desperate, but close to that. I play Queen C7. I'm just playing solid moves. I have a static advantage in the bishop pair, solid structure, so you don't have to do anything spectacular. I just improve my position slightly. I'm covering the b6 square, I'm getting out of any potential pins on the d file. Just improve my position. You don't have to make magical things happen in Blitz. I mean, if you have a static advantage, just play static moves, and that's what I did. Rook d1, and this turns out to be a blunder because of knight a5. Attacking this pawn with the bishop, attacking the rook, and also the bishop pair is quite good, especially this bishop here. It's unopposed, and this bishop means I have great control over some good central squares, and it also means that I will almost never get mated because he doesn't have any good way to get rid of this bishop. Yeah, so attack e4, attack b3, and also it turns out that this rook doesn't really have any great squares, and if it goes to like b5, I can maybe just play bishop c6 and win the exchange. So instead I took on b7. I would say the question is the game open enough to call it really an open game? It's quite open. I mean, the bishops are quite strong in this position to go back, even before winning the exchange. And the important thing also is that his knights, they don't have any outposts. My pawns are doing a great job of covering the squares here on the 5th rank. So, okay, he has to give up the exchange here. So now it's just completely winning. And I just started to reroute my knight. Controlling, was not doing much on b7, so I put it on c6, where it controls some good squares. So we don't need to do anything, just play solid moves. The b file is mine, so I take it. He tries to go for counterplay. I mean, he has to do something, so I kick the knight back. My rook penetrates. I want to bring my queen to b3, try and exchange. It's a threat right now, because he doesn't want to exchange queens. So my queen comes in, and now knight d4. This is pinned, but it turns out he can take it because my queen is attacked, but I simply take here with bishop. And after rook d2 takes, and queen takes at g3, he resigned. Yeah, just up the exchange and the pawn now. And he has more weaknesses. This is weak, this is weak. Let's make it red. And this is not a tactic because I just take here with check. This is easily winning. Up a pawn, I will pick up more pawns, and nothing to write home about for the white pieces here. So that was round 7. And my uncle also lost. He played 2 grandmasters in a row, so I mean, he already beat a grandmaster, beat an IM, but I lost to 2 grandmasters. So now we're both on 5 out of 5. No, sorry, 5 out of 7. So this guy beat, yeah, he's 2057. So on to round 8. And we need to keep going. It's 11 rounds, so it's really important to get some results. And in this round, a really unfortunate pairing. I played my uncle. Yeah. I played my uncle, unfortunately. Of course, we played a million times before. But I don't think we played in a tournament for like 15-20 years. But before that, when we were younger, we played like, yeah, probably a million times. A million times, but this is the first time in a good while that we played in a tournament game. So yeah. And he had to give me a ride after the tournament, so I just said before the game, it's nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. I mean, if I win, I had to win to get some chances in the tournament. If I lost, it was so that you would drive me to pick up my car, But okay. So of course we know each other quite well. So he played e6, and I know he plays the Dutch. And if he play e4, he plays the French. So I know all about that. Thinking about it now, I should have brought out an old weapon, but I'll keep it in hand. I don't want to give it up on a video in case he's watching. But now I know what I will play next time. Okay, either way, we played e6, and this is a nice way to reach the Dutch because it avoids some. Usually I play this versus the Dutch, and it also avoids lines like bishop g5. So some of the Dutch lines, also knight c3, etc. So you get into your game. No, I still got a ride home. Either way. So e6, quite a good way to reach your Dutch while avoiding plenty of lines. So I decided to stick to my guns and just play a London type setup. I mean, if you play the London, you don't have to play it against everything, but I tend to do that. Okay, my plan here was quite simple. Not to castle immediately, and keep the option open of going for a quick attack with g4. So, usually I would play bishop d3 there, but instead I played bishop c4. The thing is, with the bishop on d3, sometimes you can get in trouble. Let's play some moves. Not very good moves, but let's play some moves. Need like a random move here, like king h8. So like here. Now I have to be really careful. Okay. Let's play not that. Let's play this. Knight c6. c3. Now e5 is a threat, I think. Because if I move the bishop back, then e4 is winning a piece. Even if the jack, yeah, d5. And if I take, then my bishop on d3 is hanging. Ta-da! Okay, but maybe in this case I can get away with bishop c4. That's why I wanted to play king h8. Okay. But okay, I just wanted to make a point that the bishop on d3 can be vulnerable in some cases. So I decided to go bishop c4. And still, my plan is at some point, if he castles, I'm just gonna go for an attack. Play g4. Castle queenside, play g4. Also, ideas like knight g5 here, etc. But he decided to go d5. So now I'll go bishop d3. No worries about e5. And now we have a stonewall type setup. But I still have this g4 idea in mind. Now with c3, queen c2 and g4, etc. If I play bishop c4, is the c pawn any concern to you? No. My c pawn wants to go to c3 anyway. And his c pawn I'm not worried about, so. Okay. Yeah, this is starting to look like a good stonewall. He went g6. He didn't want to castle, maybe he's still worried about g4, but in the end he decided to castle. I'm not 100% about the move order at this point, but he went bishop d6 eventually and queen e7, something like this. And then he took on e5. And okay, I didn't play rook d1, but eventually we got a position like this. Actually, I castled first and he played knight e4 and then I played rook d1, but I can't remember what he played in the meantime. So we got this position. Then what happened was something like this. I can't remember, something like this happened. queen b8, and he went a6. I remember in the game I was slightly worried about f4 because he has this discovery here, but maybe I can just take on a7. But in a blitz game, this is not something you want to concern yourself with. Unfortunately, he went a6, and after that I was so happy that he missed f4 that I went queen c7, and I exchanged the queens. And my feeling was that my bishop pair would be quite strong in this position. And that's indeed what happened. I went bishop b3, aiming to play c4, open up the game. That's what I did. Then something like this happened. And let's just go quickly. I mean, the moves are not that important. In the end, we exchanged the rooks. I got this pawn for the a pawn. And I mean, this is not the correct move order. I can go bishop d8 here, but I just want to set up the position that happened in the game. Something like this. I got the bishop pair and the time match. More importantly, I played this game really fast and I had a time match. But around this point, we started to merge a little bit, so I didn't have that much of a time match anymore, but a slight time match, and that's always important. But I feel like this is, I mean, it looks really promising for white. I still have the bishop pair, and what happened was I managed to make some strong connected pass pawn in the center. I played king h2 to cover my h3 pawn. I can play g3 without hanging this. And after f4, I got some really strong pawns. And here we got in serious time trouble, so I can't recall the moves. But I got super strong connected pass pawns and the awesome bishop pair. And basically what happened is I pushed these pawns, I played f5, brought my king, and eventually I attacked these pawns, rerouted the bishops. You know, this one came over here eventually. And I just won this pawn on h6, and these pawns were just unstoppable in the end, coupled with the bishop pair. And I would go as far as to say that this ending is winning for white, and that's indeed what happened. So I managed to win this game. So 2 games in a row, and certainly needed the comeback at this point. So now I won here against my uncle, so I am on 6 points. Grandmaster Helgi Ólafsson, who I beat in the 4th round, has taken the lead here with 7 points. So I'm a point behind the leaders. This guy is also on 7. Yeah, so I'm a point behind the leaders here. And yeah, quite an unexpected result here with the FM beating the GM, but he's a strong FM. And his brother is a GM also. So I'm a point behind the leaders. So what happened in round 9? Got another decent pairing, I thought. Another 2100 guy, but he's 2100, but he's really strong in blitz. So let's find him here in the last round. So last 2 rounds he had been playing next to me. He's 2162. He had been playing on the boards next to me and also winning his games. So this round we met up. The thing with this guy, he's really strong in blitz. We could even add like 200 points to his rating in blitz. His main strength is that he plays really fast. I mean, he doesn't really dwell on any, you know, big decisions. He just makes practical moves. And in this game, usually I play knight f6, but I wanted to avoid a line that he plays. I didn't really have anything good against it, so I just wanted to play chess, you know, not get a line that's I'm not super comfortable with. So this is what I played, bishop e7. And here I sort of mixed up my lines. It's possible after knight d2 to play h6 here. And it's sort of a waiting move like bishop e7. There's also a6 and even the extravagant a5, but that's quite rare. But the idea is the same, to kind of wait to see what white does and maybe go g5 in some lines. But the thing is, now he just goes f4. Oops. And now my move makes no sense, because I'm not going g5 now. Yeah, a5. So just a moment here. So yeah, okay. So yeah, it makes no sense because I'm not going g5 right now. So yeah, kind of wasted the move here. So I got kind of lost my way a bit here. So queen b6 also doesn't make super sense, because don't really have that pressure that I want on d4. So I got quite behind on the clock here, like 1 minute. So again, the time control is 5-2. So I got behind on the clock. So I decided, okay, I have a bad French here. I'm slightly cramped, but okay. I'm just gonna play solid but cramped, but try and play faster. So I just played g6, and played a3. And it's hard for me to get my pieces out, so I stuck to my plan. Knight f8, it's passive, but I'm still solid. Okay, b4, he has a space advantage and a really solid position. True. No, I didn't do that. I took on, okay, that's wrong. I took on d4 actually, but okay, either way, it amounts to the same because he takes d4 anyway. Okay. Now bishop d7. I'm just playing French moves. I'm slightly cramped, but I mean, it's not lost or anything. Now, a typical French maneuver. I want to play bishop to b5 and exchange the bishops. Good night, Mormilla. Thank you for watching. Now I played g4. And initially I put my hand over the bishop. I want to play bishop b5. Then I decided, okay, I can play h5, and I'm kind of forcing him to make a decision, because g5 now is blocking the king side. There's no more attack. I can play bishop b5, and my position can start to make sense. I can castle king side now rather safely, and if he has to exchange the light square bishops, eventually I have a great outpost on f5 for my knights. You know, eventually, it's a long way away, but it can happen. You know, a typical French play. C file is open. I put something on c4. You can't go h3 obviously, because I just take on g4. So he's forced to make a decision with his pawn, and he took an h5. Rook takes, knight g3, have to move rook, etc. And now move I was quite happy with, knight g5. Maybe queen e2 he should play to block, stop my plan of bishop b5. After knight g5 I get my strategical idea of bishop b5, exchanging the light square bishops. A really important idea in the French. We went queen e2, I got this exchange, and now rook c4. I'm still slightly cramped, you know, these knights are not ideally placed, and I need some moves to get organized. And I was slightly worried about him taking over at this point, you know, the c file. But I thought I found some strong moves here. I played queen c6. Now if he takes, which he does, I take back with a pawn with check, attacking his queen, which forces him to interpose the queen. And now I think I played some strong moves. Bishop takes g5. And now the idea is that this bishop will become a bad bishop, because it's blocked in by its own pawns. And now another good move, I thought, rook h4. Taking advantage of the pin. And I also saw, he took on c6, but I had everything worked out here. He can't go d5. Number one, I can take with the queen on d5, but I also saw that I can take on e4. He takes on c6, and I simply have this move. And I even had, you know, for rook d1, I can just take on c7, but I even saw that, you know, if needed, I have this. But okay, of course, I just take on c7, so it's completely irrelevant. Okay, he took on c6, and now after a tough opening, I felt really good here because now I'm just better. He has a bad bishop. I have a great. Oops, he didn't do that. I have a great. I want to do that. I have a great blockade on the light squares. And after my next move, knight d7, this knight is simply going to b6 and d5. And all my pieces are becoming coordinated. I have pressure on d4. He has no play. I'm just better, and at this point, started to catch up on the clock and really confident that I would win at this point. Knight b6, bishop f2, knight to d5, and I played h3. His idea with bishop f2 was some kind of discovery. The problem is that it doesn't work. Number one, what I saw in the game, I could just check like this and then take the knight. But what I didn't see is that I can also just take and then check on e3. So it doesn't even work. But okay, played h3, trying to set up this discovery. And then a blitz game, you don't want that hanging over you, so rook to f4. It's also possible to play knight f4. I didn't want to calculate. I have to take with a knight, and after bishop e3, I felt like, okay, I just didn't want to think about things like that. But okay, seeing it now with the computer, knight d3 is probably winning because d4 is hanging. During the game, I didn't see it, so I went to rook f4. Knight e2, rook e4, and now I activated my rook tactically with rook to e3. He attacked my pawn. Ideally, I would probably like to keep the pawn, so it's possible that rook c3 is a better move here, trying to keep the dangerous passed c pawn, but I just took an a3 and took another pawn, so now I'm up a pawn. But it's quite possible that keeping the pawn on c4 could have been a better move. So now he gets some counterplay with his knight. I went to rook here, and then I repeated once just to gain time on the clock and try and figure out things. And eventually what happened was I went to rook c2, took one pawn back. It's possible my king was on e7. But it's not highly important. It's probably on e7, so I'm protecting the f7 pawn. Okay. Then I took on d4, and now I'm just up a pawn. And yeah, my king was probably on e7. And here I had caught up on the clock, and we have 2 seconds each move, so I managed to win this. I mean, I'm up the pawn, good passed pawn here. And his knight is really, you know, pissing into the wind. There's nothing to attack, and can just move around. Didn't even go there, but okay. And eventually, I just brought my played with my knights on the light squares, brought my knight to d5, and eventually I won this pawn, and then this pawn and this pawn, and yeah, won the game. It ended with 2 knights versus I think only the bishop and 2 passed pawns. But I can't remember the end because at this point we were both blitzing, but this game I won. So managed to recover from a bad position and a bad clock situation, so quite happy. So now I am on 7 out of 9. And now this guy's leading, Grandmaster Helgi Ólafsson, who I beat. He has 8 out of 9. This guy has 7.5. So now I am up to 3rd with 7 out of 9. Quite good. Quite a good win here. 3 in a row. So what happens in round 10? I get paired with a dead Spaniard. Yeah, that's one guy with a Spanish flag. He's been living in Iceland for it must be like 12 years by now. I mean, I don't know. lived here for a long time. But now, round 10. And I play another Grandmaster, Grandmaster Thorhalsson. So this guy, who is now second in the tournament. But I have the white pieces. And at this point I was optimistic about at least getting in the money. Because, I mean, even if I lose, I know 8 should be enough. So if I lose, probably I get paired down and have to win in the last round. So, I mean, if I beat him, you know, I'm more or less guaranteed to get in the money. So, everything from there would just be a bonus. So, let's see what happened versus the Grandmaster, my third Grandmaster in this tournament. Bishop f4. I played the London in all my white games, like we've seen so far. And here he surprised me, because he's more or less a Slav or a Queen's Gambit declined player. But obviously he wanted to avoid some easy attacking type positions that you could get with the white pieces. So e3, bishop g7. So what we got now is, this is just a Grunfeld. And c6 slightly surprised me, because he went rook e8 here. And it looks like he's going for e5, but it's not easy to organize. I didn't retreat my bishop. Went c3. Once again, I mean, you've seen this a million times. Just the London moves. Bishops go here. And yeah, this one goes here and here. And knights are always here. And castles. Against the King's Indian, against the Grunfeld. Sometimes, yeah, against the Queen's Indian and the Queen's Gambit also. You know, so quite solid. He went bishop b7. I decided to go for e4. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it immediately, so just while I thought about it, rook e1. You know, press the clock. It's his move. Just so that I don't get too far behind on the clock. He went h6, kind of anticipating some problems on the g5 square. So now I went e4. He kicked the bishop back. So I have to retreat the bishop, otherwise he gets an unopposed punch to bishop on b7. He went c5, bishop b3. Good diagonal for bishop, it seems. Eyeing this pawn. He went e6, knight e5. And this always looks quite dangerous, this bishop, a knight here, a rook here. You know, there's always some possibilities of some sacks, but I'm more or less thinking that, you know, I'm solid here. That's all I'm thinking for now. c5. Now I think I found a pretty nice way to continue. I took a c5. If he takes with a pawn, I'm always slightly better, because he has slightly weakened pawn structure. I can maybe go knight c4 to d6. So I took with the rook, I took a d8, rook 8 to d1. And he was kind of hoping for the move that he played, rook c to c8. And maybe h6 is too weakening, I'm not sure. At least it gave me the opportunity to play what I did here. Maybe I could have done it either way to take on f7. But I took on g6 here. Ooh. And usually, if you give up a bishop and a knight or a rook, if you get only one pawn for it, it's usually not worth it. But 2 pawns generally are always worth it. So I got 2 pawns here, so I felt like it was a good proposition for me. So king f8, I took on c8. And I also liked it because my rooks are quite active. I thought I would get a rook into the 7th. My bishop is ready to join the game, and it's also quite active. Ready to join the battle here at a later stage to attack these weak pawns. And I also have a 3 to 2 pawn majority on both sides. Somebody asked why is h3 played so often in the London. h3 is played so that you can meet knight to h5. This one, you go back. Where is it? Why is it? So you can meet knight h5 with bishop h2, keeping the bishop, the all important bishop pair, keeping the bishop, and also a good diagonal. So okay, where were we? Knight takes g6, pawn takes, yeah, good bishop, good rooks. I play bishop d6 check, and now rook e7. And actually, I'm just winning another pawn here. So now I got 3 pawns for the 3 pawns and the rook for 2 pieces. I can take on a7, and I was aware that probably it's quite okay, but I didn't want to have any complications like rook d8, rook d4, knight e8. You know, if I take something like this, we have this pin. I have to worry about knight e4, knight e8. Maybe I want to put the rook where it's protected, but I mean, I looked at this and I'm like, I mean, why worry about stuff like this? So just, I mean, I have 2 pawns, I have active pieces, so I just play bishop e5. So maybe I'm threatening rook d6 now also. It's quite unpleasant, so, you know, trying to keep a good clock situation, playing a solid move, and now he has to think a little bit, and he played knight e8. And now it's much better, now I can eliminate this bishop pair and take on a7. So here I was like, wow, man, I'm just beating this guy. Like the second GM I'm beating, and if I beat him, I'm in the money. So, but that's also tricky. You must not, you know, quit playing. You must not quit playing. Here I can take on b6 also, but I felt okay. Let's keep a good clock situation, put the pressure on him, play rook f7. Captain Hindsight would probably take on b6 though. I mean, there's no danger really. Something like this happened, and okay, I didn't want him to get penetrated with this rook there, and eventually something like this happened, put rook on e5, and I forced him to exchange, and here I am more or less completely winning. From here I can't recall the moves, but I can recall one position that we got at a later stage. And I had been completely winning for a long time. I blundered 1 pawn back, but then I got this position, and I made the mistake earlier of thinking, this game is over, you know, you know. But the thing is, this guy, he never gives up. And that's like what grandmasters do. That's why they're better than us. They never give up, they find resources, they keep fighting. I'll play king f3 here. I'm threatening g4 checkmate. And I almost like, I got this guy now, man. I can relax. And then he played, mistake, don't do that. He played knight g5. I'm like, what? This is supposed to be over. I mean, come on. Why isn't he resigning? Should I play my king? Take. Okay, fine. But then, what do I do? My clock. Okay, rook b6. Make a move. Bishop d6. I'm like, what? What's going on, man? This was completely winning. Now he's winning my h6 pawn, man. What's going on? And my clock is like 5 seconds. I'm like, what? 5 seconds? What's going on? Come on. Fortunately, I found this. Boom. And this is a winning pawn again. I knew that. He took. But okay, I still have like 5 seconds. I got 2 seconds, so like 7 seconds now. I'm like, oh yeah, this is easy, man. This is easy, man. Opposition, man. So easy. I even knew this, man. Like here, king g6, opposition. You went king h8. And I know here, you know, you don't go king f6. You don't go here. Because like this. Can I do that? Oh, you don't go king f7, sorry. You don't go king f7. Because of this. Oh, you do. See? I messed it up. King f6. King f6, king h7. g6, right? Yeah. No. King h8. Yeah, you don't do this. because king here. You can't go king here. Stalemate. And g7 here. Yeah. I finally got it, man. I finally got it. Okay, you can't do this. I knew that. So I knew. We got this position. I'm like, haha, king h6. I know this. I know this, sucker. And he went king g8. I'm like, what? 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 If I go g6, king h7, g7, king g8. And I'm not winning. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's going on? So I'll go king g6 back, he goes king h8. I'm like, but I'm supposed to go king h6, right? Then I go king f6. And he goes here. I'm like, what? Oh no, I can't do that. I can't go g6 now. So I'll go back, and he's like, draw? I'm like, what? Everybody's watching. I'm like, what? I can't do basic opposition? This is not happening, man. This is my chance to get in the money. What's going on? What's happening? I'm like, 3, 2, 1. And eventually, something clicked. The funny thing is, I actually went to the other side. I don't remember what happened even, but somehow got the opposition and managed the queen. But it was like this close to being the most embarrassing moment of second most embarrassing moment of my chess career. And it kind of was, even though I did it, I messed up and everybody was watching. I'm like in time trouble, you know, top words. Everybody's around me and like, I'm messing this up. I mean, what's going on, man? What's going on? I know this shit, man. But okay, fortunately, things worked out, and round 10, I won. The first most embarrassing we can look at another time. So I'm like, wow, man, that was close. It was semi-embarrassing still, but okay, I won. So now I am in second place, sole second place. This guy is with 9 points. This guy has 9 points. I have 8 points. I'm in second place. So the last round pairing, this guy plays against this guy, who is also GM. I know he can beat him. I know he can beat him. And what happens? I get like, okay, all due respect, a great player, but out of, I mean, I don't want to play this guy. Definitely, he's a GM. So I get her. She's a double GM. I'm like, man, this is my dream pairing, man. If he wins, and I beat her, then we're tied, man. And we have to calculate. And I might be the freaking Icelandic champion, man. What's going on? I'm like, yeah. Okay, I get a bit stressed, but okay. Managed to calm myself down. Unfortunately, I'm black, you know. So that's makes it slightly trickier. So okay, we get going. She plays c4. She's very solid, very solid. Can be really hard to beat at times. So okay, I decided to play the same line I played against the 2100 guy in round 7 with queen d7. That's what I intended. But then he played rook b1. She played rook b1. Now I'm like, okay, if I play this line, I can't really play it now. Queen b7, you know, b4 is already coming. And okay, maybe do I want to take on c3? You know, play against the pawn structure. And like, I'm like, what? 40 seconds behind on the clock. Okay, just I'm like, okay, just play a5. I don't want to play this line, but I ended up playing it. Okay. Yeah, it's 11 rounds. It's true. You end up playing more black and white, but what can you do? 11 rounds. Usually, chess tournaments are odd number of rounds. Okay, she plays e3. Okay, I want to block e5, d4, so I'll play e5. I will get this kind of line that I play this with white slightly differently, but it's solid for black. That's all I know. It's solid. They're behind on the clock, but okay, no, I'll start to catch up a little bit now. Rook b8, knight d2 c3, and I know this is quite solid. And here I decided, okay, I will just put my king away. You know, so there's no tactics, there's no knight takes anything with check, there's no discoveries. Practical move, you know, no nonsense. She plays b4. almost have to take, because pawn takes. If I allow pawn takes, it feels like it allows some weaknesses. So took on b4. Here I felt like I didn't want to allow b5 because, well, she gets the a file. You know, there's a weakness here, so I kind of have to take. But fortunately, I have this break d5, and that completely, more or less, I mean, equalizes the position. So she took everything, and played queen b3. And here I'm getting slightly worried, man. She's exchanging everything, man. So how am I winning? How am I winning this, man? Maybe I should have kept the queens on, but I felt like, okay, I have pressure on d3, and I was starting to catch up on the clock and get a better clock situation. So around here I'm like 30 seconds, maybe a minute up on the clock. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna play slight pawn structure. I mean, slight space advantage. Try and press, play h5 or something, you know. So I took here, bishop b4 and e4. May not have been completely necessary. So now she played rook c1. Actually played rook b7 first. Rook b7, f5, and then rook c1, which is important because, so let's go like this. It's important because he's threatening to double on the 7th. So that's what happened. So I had to play rook d1 check. So we get the same position here anyway, like this. And now she kept finding good moves to simplify g4. And now it's tricky. I kind of have to take, because if I don't do nothing, let's play a nothing move. She takes, and I can't really protect the pawn. Rook b5, rook f7, you know, attacking this. So I had to take. And unfortunately, I played king g8 here, trying to set up a trick. She went with a rook, but she took it back. I mean, she put the hand over like she was going to take, but then no, because I win the bishop here. Fortunately, she changed her mind and played bishop f4. Then she rerouted the rook, forced the exchange, and there's just nothing in this. Did something like this, and eventually I had to shake on this position. We both had. At this point, I was even down on the clock, so I had to offer the draw, and unfortunately, I had to offer the draw because this guy, he beat this guy, so I would have caught up to the leader. But okay, Captain Handside is fine because I would have lost some points. We would have shared the prize, which is money, but he would have won on. No, FM is higher than WGM. He would have won on time. Sorry, on points, and gotten the title. We would have shared. I mean, it was extra money. It was like extra 25,000, which is like close to. It's about $200 more. But okay, so let's have a look at the final standings. Not cross table, just me ranking list. So yeah, so I got second place on points. This guy managed to catch up with me. My former, my good friend, a student for a while, but so got second place, man. This is quite good, and this is me proudly receiving my winner's check. This is a check for 55,000 Icelandic kroners, which is close to $500. And this is Grandmaster Gerhardsson, my good friend and teammate for a few years in the Icelandic League, and also a teammate with Juice of Kent in the British League. But yeah, a great result. Yeah, one of my best results in a Blitz tournament ever. I once came third in the Icelandic Championship, you know, for in standard chess, but this one has to rank up there. Definitely one of my best results. Second place, you know, I beat the Icelandic champion. Came second, and got $500. So what more can you ask for? So yeah, man. Okay, I'm gonna cut off the stream because this will be for YouTube also, but I think I'll come back and play some. So thanks for watching and, you know, sharing my experience in this Blitz tournament, which is quite nice. So thank you. Bye bye.